In the last demonstration, I showed how to get started with 3D layers by clicking the 3D switch, using a null object to create a 3D group, basically, and then animating these text layers spinning in a circle. I'm going to take this a step further and introduce what's called per character 3D so that you can animate the individual letters in 3D space. So let's get started. I'm going to take the comp that I created in the last one and I'm going to duplicate it in the project panel by hitting Command D. And I'm going to double click it to open it up. And I'm going to hit Command K to open up the composition settings so I can change the name. I'm going to call it 3D text per character and hit OK. All right, now down here in the timeline, I'm going to select my first text layer here. I'm going to open it up, go to the text group, go to the animate menu, and at the very top of that menu, there's an option here called Enable Per Character 3D. And what this will do is it's going to change the 3D nature of the layer. The layer will still be flat, two-dimensional layer in 3D space, but now when I add a text animator property to it, so for example, rotation, that rotation property is 3D, has 3 dimensions instead of just 2. So when you enable per character 3D, any text animators for things like position, scale, rotation that you add to your text are going to be 3D, not 2D. Now, if I go ahead and scrub the Y rotation value here, you can see that the individual letters rotate on the layer. So I'm going to go ahead and set some keyframes here for Y rotation. And as the whole block is spinning around here, I'm going to have the letters spin around 1 revolution as well. Pretty cool. Maybe I have it spin the opposite way by doing a -1 instead of a +1. Let's see how that looks. Not as good. So I'll undo. All right, that looks pretty cool. Now I want to do the same thing to the other 3 text layers. So what I can do here is actually just copy this animator group and the keyframes that are inside it by selecting like that, choosing Edit, Copy, and then if I go to the next text layer, enable the per character 3D, and then bring my time marker back to 0 and hit paste, I should be able to, paste that same animator group with the same properties, the same keyframes to that next layer. So I'll repeat that process for the other 2. I'll go to the text group, turn on the per character 3D option, make sure my time marker is back at 0 so that when I paste, it's pasting it lined up at 0. And then do the same thing here for the last one. And again, hitting paste, Command V. And if I've done this correctly now, all the letters on all the text layers are all spinning around. Pretty cool. I'll select all, hit U to show the keyframes, and maybe I'll change my keyframe values here. I think maybe for these guys, I'm going to change that to 2 revolutions instead of just 1. Whoops, it's not doing them all at once, so I'll do them one at a time. There we go. Let's see if that looks better. Yeah, I think I like that a little bit better. Now, obviously, you can play around with those values. You can play around with different text animator properties. But the basic idea here, the key takeaway, is that with your text layers, if you want to be able to animate the letters in 3D space, you have to first turn on the Enable Per Character 3D option. And if you need a refresher on the text animator groups, how to animate text animator groups or range selectors or any of that stuff, just go a little further back in the Getting Started with After Effects playlist here, and you'll see some recordings on getting started with text animators as well as animating text in and out with range selectors or putting text on paths and that kind of stuff. So hopefully this gives you some ideas though for getting started with 3D text, animating text in 3D space. In the next part of this series, I'm going to show how to work with pre-composing, pre-comps in 3D, and I'm also going to show how to do some 3D extrusion as well using the different render engines.